Today, I'm building an AI-powered, deeply personalized icebreaker generator that uses LinkedIn post and company website information in order to improve your cold email outreach at scale. This is the puppy we're going to be building from scratch today. However, before we do that, let me quickly demo it for you so you understand what the system does and what we're going to be building, right? This is an icebreaker generator, which means that we are, with this system, sending personalized messages to our ICP, wherever they may be. So the first thing that we do is we access an API actor, which basically means we are accessing through API, which is a platform where we have third-party apps, let's call them like this, that other software developer developed, and we can simply access them for as little as few cents a run. And with these actors, we can see that the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to scrape emails for our leads. Once these emails are scraped, and so once the API actor finished running and we retrieve the databases, we access the first and initial yellow part where we extract all of the information about a person. So company, keywords, headline, first name, personal LinkedIn, and company website. Having just the links is not enough to create a personalized message, right? So the second step that we're going to do with this system is we're going to access through another API actor, LinkedIn posts, and we're going to be using this one right here. And through that, we are retrieving the latest 5 posts, because this is what I limit my system to, of that person. Once we have all of the posts, we're going to generate a so-called post summary, which is represented by the red column right here. And I limit, of course, the workflow to 1 because I wanted to, otherwise the run would take too long. And this is just a brief overview of what this person posted and what is the current 5 latest post/topic that this person is thinking about. And then once we have that, we're going to crawl all of the links inside the main website. So in this case, this is a resourcery group, which is inside here. And once we crawl the website, what we're gonna do is that we're gonna retrieve all of the links that are inside that website. As you can see here, we have a mix of relative and absolute links, which is what we are processing right here. We're gonna crawl all of these and then generate a summary of what the website talks about and what each page talks about. So here we're gonna have a little summary for each page that we crawled. So this page belongs to whatever. And then everything is gonna be fed into an OpenAI node that will help us generate the so-called icebreaker. And once we have that, then we can see that we have this icebreaker generated. And this needs to sound very human. So this is for Allison, which is the name of the first name of the person. And we can have a quick read. Hey, Allison, love how you're doubling down on interim CFO roles. Also into your hands-on work with your orgs. Wanted to run something by you. Hope you don't mind, but I spent some time looking through Resourcery and noticed you're big on building trust and delivering measurable improvement, especially for clients navigating market shift post-Brexit. And then here, it's the part that I find really insightful, which is the square brackets that makes it sound very humanly typed and written. That focus on both strategic and operational flexibility really stood out. I put something together a while ago that I thought might help, long story short, and then you pitch the service real quick and that it's not so costly. So why is this relevant? Because if you ever run a cold email campaign, this is one of the most effective way to bootstrap your agency or business, a service business, right, in the early stages, because outbound is much more effective than inbound. And you know that cold email is particularly difficult because if emails don't sound human, then eventually people will just disregard them and flag you as spam or just simply don't answer. So in order to create something personalized here, we're using 3 sources: website, what the person thinks and who the person is, and what they post about, so the latest interests/concerns. And then we're targeting these ICP. So once this is sent, if you stick around until the end of the video, I will show you how you can access all of this for free. And we can start from a white Canva and building this from scratch. We are building the whole thing live. So the first thing as usual that we need, it's a manual trigger. And then the first thing we mentioned before was that we need to have a way to scrape the leads initially. And we want to understand who do we want to target. So in this example, we want to target recruitment agencies, maybe small, medium businesses, so maybe below 50 people. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to envision. And we want to pitch them recruitment services, so outreach to find, I don't know, good candidates and so on. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find a way to scrape leads. And we mentioned that we're going to have Apify as a platform, right? That will enable us to create this list. I have now pre-prepared a Apify scraper for you, and we're now going to see how to do it together. However, the scraper that we're going to be using, we're going first of all to run an actor and get the data set. An actor is basically an Apify thing that we are running. So every name that you will see here, it's an actor that we are using, right? So we're going to use this one, lead finder 1.5/1K leads and etc. And this is the JSON. How are we going to find this JSON? So here you just need to connect your API, nothing difficult. So just in case, we go to Apify, we are going to settings, API and integrations, and then here you're going to just create your new token. You're going to go right here, and then you're going to press create new credential, and you're just going to paste it here, save, and then you're done. Now, here you will just, as mentioned, go to the actors. Oh, actually, I'm going to go to the runs to check. Actually, no, let me go to the actors. I'm going to go here, and as mentioned, we're going to be using this one. So you're going to find this name inside this list, or you can type it also right here. And once you play around with the parameters that you want, so I put CEOs and founders, I put location, United Kingdom, emails validated, and so on. You're then going to be able to go in the JSON tab right here, and you can copy all of this back to your NA10. You can press it and you can paste it. So here we said staffing and recruiting, CEO and founder, United Kingdom, a maximum of 10 results, and then 11 to 20 and etc. Here probably I'm thinking we're just running it as an example, so let's go with 5. So now we are going to connect this. We are going to press execute workflow. And if I now go back in my runs, I can see that this actor now is running. And once it finishes, I will have, there you go, the green tick. And I am going to be able to access the result. So if I go right here and I press, I should be able to see everything in JSON format. And so Ellison, Hodgkinson, I think it's called. And then you have all of your results, right? You have 5. Ideally, if you go in NA10 and everything is run successfully, you will find Allison and you have 5 results. So now that we have our 5 results, you are going to create a Google Sheet. By the way, everything will be accessible for free in the first link down below. It's the link to my community. So feel free to check it out. And here you have few fields. So first name, last name, email, job title, personal LinkedIn, company, website, industry, company size, headline, function level, city, country, company, LinkedIn, keywords, company description, right? We mentioned that this is the initial part that we want to create. So now we are just going to go inside here. We're going to press sheets. Here it's going to be append row in sheet. Then I'm going to select leads to personalized, sheet 1. So this is just lead to personalized is the name. Sheet 1 is what I have right here, right? So at the very bottom. And then I'm going to map all of the variable by just dragging everything in here like this. So I'm going to be doing it real quick and then I'm coming back. Fantastic. So if everything works correctly, now you have everything placed properly. And you will see that here you have 2 empty columns, which is the very end of the post, which we mentioned we want to leave empty for post summary and personalized icebreaker. Now coming back to NA10, if I now run this, and so let me pin the data so I don't use any more credits. I run this. Ideally here I should see appearing all of the list of leads once it's completed with all of the relevant information. So let's now have a quick look-see if this makes sense. So, okay, director, we have a LinkedIn, we have a group, company, and all of the information that we want. This is still empty because we still did not complete it because it's one of the things that we're going to be doing later. Now, just for the sake of it, let me limit this to 2, right? So I want to limit this to 2 people only. And we mentioned that now we need to start scraping the posts. Actually, let me limit for 1 and then I'll build the whole thing for 1 and then we can try it with 2. Cool. So now we are scraping the posts. So we know that it's more than 1 person, ideally. We're just building this slowly. So And let me put it here so I don't go out of the full screen. And what do we want to do right now? We need to find, first of all, the way to, and let me just go back, to access these LinkedIn posts, right? Actually, the LinkedIn profile. And if I press, I'm seeing that, okay, I have a person. And then I want to scrape all of the profiles, posts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Apify and find the right scraper. And I said, yeah, that we're going to be using this one this time. LinkedIn profile scraper, no cookies, and etc. So the things that I'm going to do here is to add this LinkedIn scraper like now in a new way, right? So I have it pre-prepared. So I will use it for us. Perfect. So this is now the scraper. So as mentioned, we used the LinkedIn profile post scraper, no cookies. And this is the thing that I pre-prepared. Now, to check this out, and why is it important, is I now have a lot of information inside the loop node because I just run it, right? But now I don't want, because I'm inside a loop, I don't want to have right here the name of the person or the LinkedIn URL of the person, because otherwise I have something static, right? So imagine that in here initially, just because I made a trial, I had this, correct? Good. Now, what I can do instead of having it hard-coded is I can delete this, drag this, where is the LinkedIn profile? I think it's at the very bottom because I called it personal LinkedIn, so it's okay. And now you see that at each loop, the loop will update the link so that the new profile is being scraped each time. And now if everything is correct and I execute, again, we're running an actor and getting the data set, but I will be able to get all of the LinkedIn posts. How many? I chose to get 5. So you see that my limit here is 5. Of course, if there is less, I'm going to get less. If there is none, I'm going to get no results. Okay? So you can see that here I have 5 items. And if I start shrinking down everything for us to be able to check, drop me a DM with your availability for interim roles. So clearly on the recruitment part, right? And then we can see that it matched more or less the profile that we saw before. Good. Now, we need to now take all of these posts, and the intent is that we want to pass them inside an LLM in order for the LLM to be able to summarize the post and then populate our DB, right? That's our intent, and that's why we use like a GPT node or an AI node. We want to have something AI-powered that will help us populate this in order to then understand what this person is talking about, to then use it later on inside another node that will be the icebreaker node, because we said we have 3 building blocks. So who the person is, what the person does, and then what the person talks about. So what we need to do is now, I want to gather all of the text, all of these LinkedIn posts. So I'm going to use an aggregate node. And what is the thing that I want to aggregate? So in this case specifically, I want to aggregate the text of the messages, because the text, and if you see here, like look at this variable, text right here is the text of the LinkedIn post. Then if I go here, then it's text. Where is it? Text, experience, and so on. So input field like this, and then I execute. If everything is correctly, I should have a bunch of thing as output. Oh Lord, I didn't pin the data. Okay, as output, that is all of the text together, right? So you see that the first one is right here. So drop me a DM, blah, blah, blah. It's this. And then the second one is experienced CFO. And if I close this, if I close the first item, I can see that, yeah, experienced fractional CFO and then experienced fractional CFO. So I have all I need, right? Now, once I have this, then I need to use an AI node in order to ingest all of this text and create something personalized. So I'm going to do it real quick and then come back. Okay, so this is the node that we created. So 4.1 mini, and this is the prompt. Again, all accessible in the first link down below. However, just to be clear, you are a precise LinkedIn post analyst for outbound personalization is the system prompt. And then here it's a bunch of input that I asked. So you can take a screenshot in GPT and copy paste it, or you can have a read. And eventually here, I just gave the overall text, and I just want to show it to you, probably this one, because it's a bit trickier. But if I dragged the text, right, I'm going to have an array right here. So this is not really usable for an LLM. So I need to transform it into a string of text. And that's why I'm using the .to JSON string as in the variable. Good. Now I'm going to run this. And if everything is okay, the person appeared to be focused on interim CEO, blah, 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 blah. Perfect. So it's telling us exactly what they are doing, the highlight practical financial management, M&A, and etc. Perfect. We know that this is true. And we are very happy with this. Now, this is what the person is talking about recently. And now the only thing that's left is just to add this inside the first row for our Allison. And then we are going to use it. So let's go back. So here we're going to press Sheets. And we are going to add append row. Leads to personalize, sheet 1. And what are we using right now as options? So we are mapping each column manually. Actually, this is not append. This is append or update. We are mapping each column manually, right? And where do we match it on? We want to match it on the LinkedIn post. Oh, sorry, on the LinkedIn profile. And why is that? Because of course, if there is more than one person that's working in the same company, they might have the same company address and etc. But only one person will have a unique LinkedIn. So I'm going to use this as a variable. And then I'm going to go in post summary. And then I'm going to drag the thing that I just created, right? So this one. I'm going to call this add post summary. That should be good. And then if everything is A-okay, let me see if I pinned the node. Yes, I did. So execute step. And if everything is successful, then I am going to have... Oh, okay. I think I added it on the wrong... Yeah, I added it, of course, on the wrong thingy. Whoop. Okay. So expression, execute, and let me just... Cool. So now it's in the right column. Cool. Now, moving forward. Okay, so now ideally we could go out of the loop, right? So we could do something like this. However, just my preference, not needed at all. But I like to have always edit node to have cleaned data when I move out of loops, because I want to have everything in a cleaned way in the output without having to reference 1,000 nodes in the meantime, right? So what I'm going to do is the first thing that I want to pass over will be a company website. The second thing will be the LinkedIn. And the third thing will be the post summary. And why am I passing this information? And in the meantime, I will just populate here. The reason why I want to pass these out is that because in later nodes, I am more than sure that I am going to be using all of these information because I'm going to reference the human. So I need to have the LinkedIn URL in later nodes because that's my unique identifier. And then now what I want to do is, okay, now I have all of these information and I want to connect the LinkedIn URL with the things that I'm scraping from the website. So that's why I want to pass these information. And that's, again, a me thing. So nothing that you must do. Cool, this is working, this is working. So ideally, if I'm out of the loop, I should have all of the right information, correct? Yeah. Cool, so let's run once again this one real quick and then we move on. Perfect. So we are on the done item, on the done branch, and we have these info right here. Company website, it's company website. LinkedIn, it's the LinkedIn, and then the post summary. Good. Now we mentioned that the other thing that we want to do is to run an HTTP request. And why is that? Because we want to obtain all of the information inside the page, right, on the home page. And it ran successfully. However, this is an HTML now, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense for us, like HTML, right? It's barely readable, there is nothing, and we don't really want that. we are just scraping the homepage to gather, two different things. So first of all, the information on the homepage, and then all of the links that we will be able to crawl later on. In reality, what we want is only the links, right? Because then we can have that the homepage will be also scraped later on. So the things that I'm going to use now, it's an HTML node, and I have a very nice way to extract the content. So it's extract the HTML content. And right here, I'm going to have a key. So here I'm going to call it links. And generally links are inside the A CSS selector. And here I'm going to have a text variable, and inside, I'm not going to have a text variable. I'm going to have an attribute, and the attribute is an href. Why is that? Because generally when you have and let's probably go in the website, so maybe it may be easier for you to understand. Let me go real quick. Cool. So if you go here and you right click inspect and etc., you see that, yes, you see the link is inside an href, which is inside an A. So if I now press this one, you see that it's something that brings me to another page. So this is actually a working link. So this is exactly what we are trying to achieve with this. And then we added there two things, trim values and clean up text, just because we want to have everything done properly. Cool. Now, we got everything that we want. And this is a mix of what we call absolute links. So HTTP, whatever, and slash something, which is a relative link, right? So we now have a mix of a lot of stuff. I'm now going to save it. And now we are at the, let's call it the final step, where we are crawling all of the links inside the main page, sub pages, and etc. And we need to do it with a loop, right? Because we have more than one link. So each link needs to be looped and looped and looped. So how are we going to do that? We're going to do it again with a loop node. However, as I mentioned before, I personally like to have clean data. So before even going inside the loop, one of the things that I like a lot to do is to clean my dataset. Or better, to have ready to use data when I go inside. So now I have that. The links that I have are here. And this is an array, so ideally this will change exactly. Then what do we need? We need the main website, right? So we're going to call it main website. And I know that it's inside the loop. Then I want the LinkedIn. And it's here, and then I want the post summary. Maybe some of you are, I don't know, engineers, and you're gonna tell me, hey, this is really not the perfect way. Yes, I agree. I'm very scrappy as a dude. I like a lot the 80-20, and if 80-20 works, I never go for the cleanest. So I agree. There might be better ways to do it, but that's how I like to do it. Cool. So now I have a lot of informations all inside my loop, right? And now I need to start crawling after each and every link in order to gather the information that I need. Okay, now I have a lot of links put like this, as we described before, and then these for information. So the first thing that I need to do if I want to start scraping all of the pages is to go inside a split out node, right? Because I have one item. I don't have that one link is one item. I just have one big item, which is a bunch of text, right? So I'm going to have to press split out. And the first thing that I want to split out is all of the links. I want to have them all separated. Now you can see that I have something that starts with this, something that is like this, and so on and so forth, right? So this is very various. So what is the first thing? The first thing is that I want to clean this part because what I want to have is only the links. And as we mentioned, we have a difference between absolute and relative links. So the absolute is what starts with HTTP and the relative is what starts with slash. All of the rest is not necessary for us. So we're going first to add a filter node in here. And we're going to say that if our links starts with, so where is that? I cannot see it. Okay, cool. Starts with, and then we're gonna say slash. Then we're gonna add another condition, right? And we know that this, by the way, is a text string, so that's why we keep text right here. And or actually, the same thing, or this, starts with, again, HTTP, because it's both relative and absolute. Then this is actually a link, and this is what I want, correct? Now, what I need is something that helps me clean the data. And why is that? I want to make an example for you, and let's go back to the main website and go check out what happens inside this main website right here. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go inside my URL, and you should be able to see it. Let me see if you see it. Perfect. So if I go here, I see that the main website is like this. So nothing crazy. But if I press on who we are, I see that the way relative links work is that there is the main website, and then there is a slash something something. So how are we going to fix that? We need to prepare a node code that if the link starts with a slash, then needs to take the main website from the loop over node. So it needs to take this one right here and needs to put the slash right after. While if it starts with HTTP, it needs to leave it as it is. So let me prepare it and come back to you real quick. Perfect. So here is the node, and I simply literally went into ChatGPT and asked to make this code for me. So let me real quick refresh, and then we can run the thing, because my laptop, unfortunately, it's lagging a little bit, and then I can execute. And we will see now that if everything is successful, I have main website, right? And probably actually it's useful if I do this. Yes. So main website, because it starts with the slash, the first link, and then the second one becomes this like this. What's left now for us to do is that now we have all of the links that we want, right? So, but we can see that some are duplicated. So what we want to do is to add, first of all, a remove duplicates node. Perfect. So we're removing the duplicates with the current input. And then we get a list of unique things. You see that now they are not repeated anymore. And we shrink from 57 to 32. Now, what do we want to do? Now, we basically want to go inside this thingy and start scraping all of those websites one by one by one. And now, just because I don't want this video to be super long, because it might take a minute, I'm going to limit the site scrape to, I don't know, the first 3. Okay. And then I need to start, scraping them with an HTTP request. So I'm going to come right here. Then I'm going to be HTTP. I'm going to take the link. I'm going to have it right here. I'm going to go to setting just in case something happened. And I'm going to say continue. So basically this says that if there is an error, just keep on going. And you will see that this is interesting because now right here, I have the chance of seeing that what I get is 3 items because this in one shot managed to get all of the 3 HTML of the things that I wanted, right? Of the sites that I wanted. So what I need to do now is again, a new HTML. So I'm going to press HTML and I'm going to extract the content. The key is going to be, I don't know, how are we going to call this? Probably text, because this is what we want to retrieve, right? So text, the CSS selector, we saw, right, that the A selector before. So now I'm not going to go. So I want basically all of these selectors. So H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. Where do I get text generally? Also in a P, in a span, in an A, body. I think that's good enough. Now, what do I want to skip? I want to skip images. I want to script, I don't know, style, button, because I'm not interested in the text from the buttons. I don't know, iframe. Yeah, all of these, you know, like I put a couple, but you can clean it up later on. However, I think this is good enough. And then we execute. And now we try and see what happens. Okay, please enable JavaScript in your driver, submit a CV, and then I get all of this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful text, right? Fantastic. And this is everything that we are going to feed to the LLM. Okay, so I now prepared the little LLM node with our script. So I'm gonna connect it and open it real quick just for you to see what I placed inside. So you're a helpful intelligent scraping assistant. And then I said, we previously scraped a bunch of text. And what I want is you to give me this thing right here with this format right here. Now, I have everything that works as expected. And now what I should get is a summarized version of the whole page per page. So I should have 3 summary abstract, and that's why I have 3 items where this page belongs to, and it tells me what it is. Again, here it tells me what it is, provide a comprehensive list of information about the group, a recruitment company, and then again here it gives more and more information. Now, why did I put 4? What's wrong with me? Okay, cool. Now, I want to then use all of these summarized info to feed another LLM, right? So we are going to do the opposite thing that we did right here. Here we had 1 items with the links and we wanted to have something separated right here, right? Now what we want to do is I want 3 items, and eventually before my other LLM node, which will probably be something right here, I want to have something else right here that helps me connect the 2 things and gets them into one. So how do I do that? I mean, it's basically the opposite symbol of the split out. You can check the image and you will see that from many goes to 1. And the input field that I want is basically only the summarized text. I should have pinned the thing. Now I'm gonna run again my my API, and then it's gonna cost me money. Good. So now I have everything aggregated, and you will see that there is a very big bunch of text right now. So what I'm gonna do now is prepare the last LLM node for us to be able to then create the icebreaker. Actually, now, before we continue with the LLM node, we need to ask ourselves one thing. What information do we have at this point? And is there anything that we're missing? We have the inside the loop, right? Because now we are here. Every time this will be new. We have the summarized post. We have the summarized text of the website. So green and green, because we are passing it through here. But what are we missing? We're missing all of the information related to the person, right? Because the information are here. However, we had 1 loop, so we lost them. So in this bunch right here, we lost them. Then we went here, and then we went here. So we need to add somewhere, potentially anywhere. Let's add it here, like just to make it nicer. But a node in which we say, okay, given the LinkedIn URL that I have inside here, I want here, before going into the LLM, to get all of the information of the person, right? This is what I want to do. So let's do it in practice. Let's take the Google Sheet, and we want to get rows in a sheet, right? We want to get the rows from our document, okay? And what do we want to filter? We want to filter the things according to the LinkedIn URL that we have as an input, right? So loop over items 1 should be the good one, and the LinkedIn URL is right here. And now you start to understand why I tend to pass a lot of information throughout the thing. Because now, if I press run, let me pin the data. Okay, cool. If I press run right now, so this thing is good, I should get all of the information of Alison. And now, if I prepare an LLM node, I can feed to the LLM all of the information about Alison. So at this point, I will have text, summary, and all of the information about the person. So let me prepare the LLM node. And there we go. We have our icebreaker generator. So PAM right here. Then we're going to move it and in here. And we're going to connect it. One thing that I want to say is this is fine-tuned for the There is a prompt, gigantic. You can feel free to read it and etc. However, the examples that I provided are very fine-tuned for the recruitment because this is what I am doing right now, correct? And what I want to say is, it's very important that you understand that this icebreaker generator works whatever, regardless the website, and it will work very well, I promise, because this is what I used to scale, again, my AI agency to 50K. And my reply rate, once I had a very decent icebreaker generator, improved massively because open rate went from, I think I had something very bad, around 10. Then I managed to improve the copy and went to like 50 something. And then positive reply rate in the last campaign that I did was like, I think 8%, which is very high, by the way. So highly recommended that you do something like this. However, here we have leads that are from the recruitment agency. If you manage to fine tune your system with recruitment agency's example, then this is going to be so much better, right? Because it's just going to help overall the system to improve and to fine tune the message, the right thing that you do and that you're targeting, the right ICP, the right industry, the right people, and etc. It's not a must. I'm just saying that if by any chance you can spend those 3 minutes, it's just going to improve your system massively. Cool, so icebreaker generator is right here and we're going to run it now. Just for you to see one thing that I forgot to show you is that the 3 information that we're going to then input is all of this, right? So LinkedIn post summary, name, role, and website info. Now let's run this. And let's see what comes out as an output and if you're satisfied. Good. So this is the result. Hey, Alison. Love how Resourcery spotlights interim and fractional CFOs, also into flexible senior finance gigs. Wanted to run something by you. Hope you don't mind, but I spent some time looking through your team's work and noticed you're big on connecting hands-on financial leaders with orgs in transition, especially around cash flow and M&A prep. That stood out given your focus on truly competitive, not just transactional recruitment. I put something together a while ago that I thought might help. Long story short, it's an outreach system that uses AI to find and qualify candidates based on live hiring signals, then reaches out with personalized messages instead of generic blasts. It costs just a few cents to run, converts well, etc., etc., etc. Now, the only thing that is left, right, is to add this puppy to our Google Sheet. So Google Sheet, we're gonna append or update row in sheet. From list, we're gonna go here. List, the sheet is the same. Map each column. Again, where do we map this thing? We map this thing on the LinkedIn URL because that's our unique identifier or unique variable that we're using to match the thing. And what we called as cleaned icebreaker is what comes from this guy right here. And now let me just, okay, I have done it. So here you will see that this one is still empty, right? And now we're gonna run this, execute. And if everything goes right, here we should be able to see, hey, Alison, with the right thing formatted already because we passed it already throughout the code. And now we are connecting it and this is your icebreaker generator. So the system is finished and you're gonna be able to now use it. Good, so I hope this was valuable. This was one of these systems that helped me out to scale really my cold email campaign and have it very effective. I think I saw this system around a year ago. There was a video made by Nick. So shout out to Nick. If you're watching, you're the GOAT. The system now, it's outdated because there are a couple of API scraper that don't work anymore. And there was not a personalization with LinkedIn. However, I started when I was in the early days of my agency. I started from that video and I improved the system. And the reason why I did it was because this system for me was an absolute game changer, if we want to use AI terms, because it really helped me out to understand how a good icebreaker was generated, what I would have needed in order to generate a good icebreaker. What are the 3 things that you need, which is, as we mentioned, information about the person, the website, and the LinkedIn, so what they post about. And these systems are super nice because eventually, if you just modify a bit the prompt that I created, you can even manage to cross-reference stuff, right? So I don't know, what you mentioned last week on LinkedIn or what your colleague mentioned, because if you have also a way to cross-check, I hit the mic, to cross-check the profiles to people belonging to the same company, you can go as crazy as you want. This was one of the things that I used for me specifically. So with this one, I can really assure that there is a lot of business value behind it. And look, your KPIs are one of the things that you need to monitor the closest when you run email marketing campaigns. So I highly recommend you to use it because it's just going to improve them massively. With that being said, all of this will be accessible for free inside my school community. It's in the first link down below. And that's also the place where I teach 9-to-5ers how to land their first AI client. So take some time, please, to answer the question inside before getting inside the community. I don't let everyone in, and I really care about the quality and having an engaged community and people that support each other. So please take some time. I really hope this was valuable. Enjoy the rest of the day. See you on the next one.